Do you struggle with making your monthly payment obligations? Turns out you're not alone. Blair Manton from Sands & Associates is here with tips on how to handle your bills with a debt advisor. Welcome back, Blair. Good to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
And this is the statistic that actually is quite shocking to me, that a majority of Canadians are within $200 of not being able to meet their monthly payment obligations.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Well, we've gotten to this point where a cost of living is so high, so many people have filled the gap with debt, and a lot of us are just on the knife's edge that, if something happens, any income interruption, we're just making minimum payments, many people. And, if you're within a couple $100s of not being able to make those, things can get pretty bad pretty quickly.
Yeah, the debt just builds and builds and builds. So how does a debt advisor help?
Well, generally what you need to do is you need to figure out what's the lay of the land. What are my options for getting out of debt? And most people have no idea where to even begin. So you need somebody that's going to guide you through, help you figure out what you can do to get yourself back on track. Because the great thing about debt, every problem can be solved. There's no mystery here. Everybody can get out of debt.
Okay, so what does one have to pay to do that? Like, is there a fee involved with a debt advisor? How does that work?
That's the number one thing I hope people take away is you should never pay to figure out your financial options. If you're going to see somebody and they want an upfront fee, a consultation fee, a consulting fee, something like that, run the other way. The government only licenses a single person to help you with your debts, a licensed insolvency trustee, and that person will never charge you a fee.
Okay, will you receive protection from your creditors?
That's a really important question to ask. So if you're dealing with somebody that's not a licensed insolvency trustee, they might be able to negotiate with individual creditors, but they aren't able to give you the full protection that the law affords. So if you're, getting collection calls, if your wages are maybe getting seized, if they're really giving you the idea that you're not going to be able to live another day unless you pay this debt, you need to get some breathing room, and that's exactly what you can get. If you're dealing with a licensed insolvency trustee, you get the space you need to restructure.
Okay, and I guess people want to know what if something doesn't go as planned, if something goes wrong?
Yeah, if something goes wrong, you've got to make sure whoever you're dealing with, they're regulated, again, they're licensed. If you're dealing with a licensed insolvency trustee, I'm regulated by Industry Canada, by the federal government, you've got recourse if something doesn't go according to plan. If you pick somebody out of the phone book, if you're dealing with an unlicensed credit counselor, an unlicensed debt advisor, for example, you've got nowhere you can go if things don't go as planned. Maybe you'll go on social media, but sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. You really need to make sure you're dealing with someone who's regulated, that you can, go to their regulator if something does go wrong.
And what kind of levels of debt are we talking about? We're talking like hundreds of thousands of dollars, or do people go to a debt advisor if it's just, say, like in the tens of thousands of dollars of debt?
People generally, it's over $5,000 to $10,000 is when people really start to see, okay, you know what, maybe I'm not going to pay this off. The average person who files a consumer proposal, for example, which is what we specialize in, they owe about $30,000 to $40,000. And generally, if you're hitting $30,000 to $40,000, you've got a problem. But the challenge is people will sometimes just sit there for up to 2 years, make the minimum payments until they can no longer do so, just thinking there's no way forward.
That's when you gotta maybe step in and get some help. Blair, thanks for joining us this morning. Good advice as always. If you want to watch the segment again, you can go to our website, ctvmorninglive.ca.